steering wheel. Lapse the steering wheel, yeah. Give him steering wheel. Hey, steering wheel. Somebody tell him to give it to him. Come on! Whoa!
Your leg, my please. Your leg.
How the f*** is this possible?
I'm driving like a grandma. Get that, Ralph. Did you hear me? From the radio. Ralph, acknowledge. Now, come on, close him down and kill him. We've got a lunatic on the track. Down that mistake. I am so annoyed.
Boys and girls, your attention, please.
Hello and welcome back inside the Park from April podcast number 996. This is Todd.
No, Todd, not now.
A.K.A. Negative Camber. You know why I've asked you here?
You must convince the villagers that I'm harmless.
That's exactly what I need you to do.
Stop yelling at Todd.
Stop yelling at me. Hey, tonight, for your kind consideration, we're going to cover, what are we covering tonight? Well, the Monaco penalty saga. Well, that continues. We got Total Wolff floating team orders out there. We'll unpack that and talk about that. And Honda publicly making a comment about their engine in the back of an Aston Martin. We're going to cover all that and more, of course. Before doing that, I have to go find my co-host, which means I got to go to the right coast of our nation, nestled near our nation's capital. You know her. You love her. The lovely, the redoubtable Grace, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, Todd. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Grace and I happen to know we're recording a day early because of hectic schedules, as Paul might say.
Controversy.
And so we're having to record a day early. So I happen to know that Grace and I just got done watching Belgium finish in a 0-0 draw with Iran. So tightening things up in the group over there.
I just thought, I'm doing some stuff. It's kind of like baseball. I'm doing some stuff. I'll turn this on, see what's on. The next thing I know, I'm like, well, now I'm watching this.
Yeah, now I'm watching
like,
Belgium play around. Yeah.
And especially, I know very little about soccer. First of all, I feel like I've just come off with the NBA finals and the hockey finals. I'm a little like up to here with sports. I'm like, I just needed a break. I got like a 3-day break before World Cup started. And it was like, I don't know anything really about I get it. Belgium should be better than Iran. That's about the extent of what I know about how these two teams should play this game, right? So in a way, it's kind of like going to a movie theater where, going to a movie where I don't know anything about this movie. We're just going to sit down. We're going to watch it. I have no expectations.
It's so true. I mean, mea culpa. As a Yankee, I grew up playing football and basketball and stuff like that, and didn't play over here soccer, football. But, I'm trying to get into the game, and Paul, as the true British gent, English gent that he is, said, I had to pick a team in the Premier League. I can't like multiple teams. I got to pick one. And I just threw a dart at the dartboard and ended up with Arsenal.
So close.
And he's a West Ham fan, and so he wasn't happy about my pick. But anyway, so I did that, 2 or 3 years ago or so. Yeah. So I try to watch Arsenal when they play. Truth be known, I like Bournemouth a lot, the Cherries, and maybe Aston Villa, kind of like them too. But anyway, so I tried to watch it. But see, not being as a young boy growing up in the sport, I don't understand the mechanics of the game and the strategy of the game like Paul and other people that are really into football / soccer. So when I'm watching it, it's like hockey. I know the strategy behind hockey and all that because you grew up watching it, but I haven't figured it all out, the nuances. And I always figure, Grace, it's kind of like when you and I talked about when you got into Formula One, so call it circa 2000-ish?
Yeah.
Run there. So when you got into Formula One, the thing was, back then the broadcasts were for Formula One fans, and so as you got into it, you would watch the broadcast of it, and then you started to learn about the sport through the broadcast, and then read the on the interwebs and stuff like that. And you eased your way into understanding Formula One and loving it. Right. And I've tried to do that with Premier League football, with the Premier League, but I got to be honest with you. When you watch the broadcast, the British announcers, they don't really unpack the sport. No, they all just talk as if you absolutely know the whole pitch, exactly the 4-3 whatever, and and they and then when you watch broadcast team between broadcast team, they all have a markedly different take on the game and what they should be doing or not doing. And so so I guess bottom line is I need to watch a YouTube video and figure out the sport. But anyway.
I don't know. Or not. I mean,
I don't know. I kind of enjoy it just for what it is. But
that's what I'm saying. I just.
To your point, though, we got the Formula One. We have the Formula One going.
Right.
You got the MotoGP going.
That's right.
You just got done with NBA and stick and ball, and you're not watching a bunch of baseball.
Okay,
but the other thing about it is I just got done with 24-hour Le Mans.
That's right.
Right. I got IMSA races coming up, and I have the Tour de France. So I don't cycle. I'm not a bicyclist. I've been watching the Tour de France for 15 years now. I love the Tour.
We're running a Formula One podcast. None of us have been Formula One drivers. It's fine. Like we all watch sports that we never played. I mean, that's just how that goes.
True. But I do love the Tour.
A lot going on. Great. And I'm also easily sucked in by like my coworkers who are really into things. So, we'll be at lunch and somebody will be watching something. I'm like, all right, who am I supposed to be into? I don't know. Right. I mean, it's a little easier with World Cup because they're countries, right? It's not just some team, right? Like watching Premier League or something like that. I don't necessarily know. Right. Towns in England, but, Croatia, I've heard of that country, right? Like I have some notion of how that goes. So, but I'm easily sucked into like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Let's do it. It's sports. I'll watch it. I'll pay attention. So,
yeah.
But
I
don't know.
I have some English people that I work with and friends of mine and stuff. They're, oh my gosh, did you see what so-and-so in Spain did this and that? And I was like, is that good or is that bad? I don't know. So
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Drive to Survive the World Cup. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what they should do. Netflix should do a Drive to Survive with the World Cup.
Especially because you have so what is there 48 teams or whatever. I mean, you have so many storylines to follow. So it would be fine. But
a lot of storylines.
And so I'm here for it. I'm here for it, and it's nice to kind of watch a sport that I'm not heavily invested in. I'm just enjoying it. It's fine.
I'm enjoying it for what it is. All right, let's jump to some Formula One news. Right. And everybody's sitting here going, get to the show!
This is the show!
This is the show, folks.
This is a sports podcast, people. Listen, they're all watching. They just got done watching the game, too. It's fine.
They did.
What else are you doing on a Sunday afternoon?
They were watching the Belgian game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into segment number 1, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
All right, well.
Controversy.
The controversy continues with Monaco. This story just won't die. So the penalty saga now heads to the F1's highest court. Now, what's interesting out of this, what do we confirm? Well, 5 drivers were penalized for pit lane speeding in Monaco. And then Alpine successfully overturned Gasly's 2 penalties after FOM admitted its pit lane measurement system was off by 77 centimeters. Right. I don't know. What is that? Like 22 feet? I don't know what that is. Being a Yankee, we're not
Nobody
on a metric
knows.
system. So anyway, 77 centimeters. I know it's small. So restoring him to 3rd place, and he got the podium. He missed out on the whole podium ceremony, but he was given 3rd place in the podium. Okay, so Mercedes filed its own rider review for George Russell, who'd been hit with the penalty plus a drive-through for failing to serve it. Right. And then that dropped him out of podium contention. And so they were like, okay, well we're going to do a rider review. Okay. Well, this week now, Mercedes withdrew that request just one day before its scheduled hearing. Toto Wolff had already called the odds a long shot, and the team said pursuing it further would not really serve the sport. So they're withdrawing that. However, McLaren and Red Bull is the latest that I've looked at are not backing down for this. Both have formally lodged appeals with the FIA International Court of Appeals, which is their top dog court in Paris. Mm-hmm. Right? They argued that Gasly's reinstatement breaks the consistency and fairness across the grid. And it's interesting in that sense that there was, during the last race, a lot of the pundits and stuff were talking about, JV and stuff. They were all talking about this.
I mean, it was nuts, right? Because here's a penalty that never really happened. And then all of a sudden you have 5 drivers. It was sort of like, wait. Yeah. The first time you're like, well, that's odd. But then as it keeps happening, you're like, well, now there's something is amiss, right? This seems like a very strange thing all of a sudden,
right?
To show up.
Right. It's like Alpine said, this number of speeding violations is what you would see in an entire season in Formula One, not one race.
And this isn't the Formula One movie, so we're not compacting, 50 years of racing into 8 races.
For Formula One. Yes.
It happened in real life.
Yes, but not in one race. Yes.
Right. Exactly. So it's the F1 movie theory of penenalties, I guess. Right? We're just going to jam them all in there.
There's a pit lane speed violation. Yeah. And it's only the second time in recent Formula One history I can think of, in 2019 when Alfa Romeo took it all the way to the International Court of the FIA. And
I will say, I learned a lot. I mean, I really had never thought about how I know the drivers hit a button on their steering wheel and now they can only do 55 or whatever. I never really thought about it. I now, much like when, we talk about, tires, and everyone's talking about tires, I now understand exactly how pit lane, speed is taken in a way that I was like, I just assumed it happened and we never talked about it and that was fine. Yeah. But now I know.
Now you know, and what you know is it's
not good enough, damn it. Not
good
enough. Yeah. So here's some context.
Okay.
So the fact is F1 kind of created a result that can be appealed by apparently not equally corrected is the challenge. And that was what they were saying in Barcelona.
Yes, right. You got a speeding ticket. You paid for it. I didn't pay for it. The state's like, both of your speeding tickets were in a mistake, but we're not going to give you your money back. Yeah, you're going to be mad.
Yeah, right. One driver got his penalty erased through new evidence. 4 others who served identical penalties, they have no path back. Right. And that creates some friction, and I think that's what Jacques Villeneuve and others, in Barcelona were saying. This is a slippery slope here. I also find it interesting that Mercedes chose to fold on this right of review while McLaren and Red Bull are escalating it to the international appeals.
I think if they'd actually done it correctly, they would have a leg to stand on. Right. But I don't think Mercedes can go forward in the same way that the other teams can, because their penalty was a double penalty because they didn't serve the penalty the first time and had to go back around. So I think had they not messed it up, they would be in the same place, but I don't think they can.
Yeah, that could be it. I kind of felt like Toto Wolff is reading the room on the whole thing. And, why go through all that if he's reading the room and knowing that, as you said, there's not a big likelihood, and so why put everybody, on guard as far as the FIA goes? Because when you may need to pull bigger favors later on, who knows?
But what if they did overturn? What if they said, okay, fine, we're going to overturn it, but only for McLaren and Red Bull because they contested it. But not you, McLaren, because you didn't contest it, right? So they have to. Once one of them contests it, they all have to contest it. But it does make sense to me that Mercedes is now pulled out of contesting it.
Yeah.
Because that would be even worse. That would be even a worse suck. Now it's like you were both speeding, you paid, you didn't pay. We're not giving you your money back, and we're going to take more from you. I don't know. That just is worse. So I think they had to.
And I think maybe as a skeptic, Chuck, maybe the assumption to attack is you've got some folks out saying, "Oh man, this is just sour grapes." I mean, the teams who lost track position, they're just upset and that kind of thing. And the other side of that, I think Piastri and Russell both argued the precedent itself is kind of the problem.
Yeah.
Not the position they lost necessarily. If a timing error, it can be corrected for one driver after the race and not for others in the same way, then that's clearly a governance or regulation process that isn't working there. And I think
you're just encouraging nobody to serve penalties.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fair argument. Now, is that really what's going to happen? No, but that is what you've said. You've said that, because Flavio contested it, we'll give him back the spot. To me, there's always, like Bernie Eccleston was always like, when people leave the track on Sunday, they need to know the finishing order.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing I thought of. Like, yes, there's some simplicity to it that we're now still going back and forth about this, and this was now 2 races ago and is about to be 3 races ago, and we're still talking about who is P3.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I agree. So, Grace, some questions for you.
Okay.
And all the listeners out there. So, when we talk about Mercedes backing down or folding on this, is there some sort of longer political game, or did their legal team simply tell them they'd lose, so don't fight it? In Monaco, remember, and to your point about saying, well, it isn't going to work for them because they didn't serve the penalty correctly and had to come back in, and you're right, 100%. But in Monaco, he was already dog whistling that it wouldn't really fly, that it wouldn't really work. But they owed it to George and everyone to do the rider review. Yeah. But he was already saying, yeah, but it's kind of a pointless thing. But yeah, we owe it to George and we're going to do it. And I thought that was kind of interesting to already be admitting that weekend, or certainly in Barcelona, that they were going to do a rider file for a rider review, but it probably wouldn't really make any difference. And I don't know. I just wonder if there's something else at play there. Why even do it? I mean, if he knew, like you just said, it's different for us and it's not going to fly, then why file it to begin with?
Because you're looking at logic. We're not talking about logic here, right? So I think right, that's the politicking of it. I think he's trying to have his cake and eat it too, right? He's trying to play both sides of it, that like, we realize we need to say something, because if we say nothing, then everybody's going to be like, well, Toto didn't say anything, and now then we're all going to be like, he doesn't believe in the team, and he's leaving for Red Bull, and right, like, there'll be all sorts of things. So he has to say something. Once McLaren and Red Bull contest it, he has to say something. Yeah. But he also knows it's not going to get overturned for any of us, but it's definitely not going to get overturned for us. And it's not, even if it is overturned for us, we screwed it so bad that it doesn't matter. So I kind of have to say, I'm putting it out there, but it's probably not going to be meaningful because he has to do both. He can't do nothing.
So you're basically paying it lip service.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's part of the game. You know what I mean? Because again, if he says nothing, then could you imagine the headlines if he'd said nothing? Yeah,
right. I mean, you want to give George the impression you're not willing to go to the wall for him.
Right. And especially given, the stakes already going on at that team, right?
Exactly. Which we'll get into later.
Yeah, right. So he's kind of stuck there that he has to say something, and that's part of his job. That's why he's paid the big bucks.
That's
to kind of play every angle of every political thing. He has to come out and say something, but also can't be like, damn it, we're doing this and we're going to win hell or high water, because that's not the case.
Right.
Either.
See, that's why he's a billionaire.
Yeah, and we're just two yokels doing a podcast. So
exactly. Exactly. What do I know? Nothing.
I'm just saying, but yeah, we kind of got stuck there.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't, you'd probably have George saying, what? What?
Yeah.
If the International Court of Appeals you asked for miracles, I give you the FIA. If the International Court of Appeals sides with McLaren and Red Bull, does Gasly lose his podium retroactively? And what does that do to the championship standings? That will be interesting.
They have to. Do we know when they're meeting? Is that they have to figure this out soon?
It could take a long time.
Right, and that sucks, right? Like, if this is another, what we have, like, 2 races and summer break or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, if this takes a month.
If they come out late September, October and say, yeah, we looked at it all, and so that's probably right, and we side with Red Bull, and now Gasly has to send the trophy from there to whomever, so, that's...
And Flavio, could you... Oh... See, I think think that's the other thing too, right? Is like Flavio is an evil genius, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Like when this came out, I was like, of course, this is why somebody's paying the big bucks for Flavio Briatore. This is why, right? Like I was just like, that he was like, oh, you know what? Let's try this, and nobody else tried it, and they gave it to him. So
right?
Got
him on the podium, scored big points. They needed him.
Yeah, so I think that this is why you hired. This is why Alpine hired Flavio Briatore, even though he didn't want any of these jobs, right? He just wants to
Yeah.
be on a yacht somewhere retired. But this is it.
Right.
And so I think I don't think anything else is going to happen. I think. Yes. Pierre
wasn't
Gasly will
his
have his
yacht
third, and that'll be it.
confiscated over
Was it?
tax
maybe.
issues and
That
then
could be.
put on the market, and Bernie Eccleston bought it?
Oh, I think you're right. I think we covered
that's
that
what
story.
happened.
That's
Yeah.
great.
If
love
memory
that.
serves correctly, I think that's what happened. His yacht was blue something.
Yeah.
It was a big yacht. So it was a lot of money.
Of course.
It got confiscated, I think. I thought it was over tax issues. I could be wrong.
I don't
and
know.
then it went and got auctioned off by the state. And I thought Bernie Eccleston bought it.
That's great.
But
That's
he and
also
Bernie are buddies.
genius. Right?
It is.
Exactly. Like,
It's so Bernie, though.
guess what you're getting for Father's Day, Flavio? A new yacht.
Your yacht.
Right.
Yay.
I'll just buy that for you.
Yeah. I don't know
cool.
who owns it now, but yeah, that was funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if F1 shouldn't have a little bit more. And I think a lot of people are arguing, oh, this is black and white. And this is the exact reason that Max Mosley didn't do black and white. So a situation like this, he could just surf through the regulations and make sweeping decisions, and they were final. In this case, a lot of people are saying, well, they need a systemic error impact process. Like if an error affects multiple drivers, every affected results get reviewed together as a whole, not whoever files first. And, does make you wonder, Grace, is it best just to not serve the penalties and see what happens after the race?
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, we'll just take our chances.
We're going to go back to the thing that everybody was so irritated about, was changing the results of the races after the race. And Bernie Eccleston was always... At the race end, people need to know who won the race. And we're not going to adjudicate it 2 days later.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So interesting time. So keep your eye on that. I don't know how that will go if that. But yeah, International Court of Appeals, the FI, that generally takes quite a while.
Yeah, it takes a while. So
yeah, this isn't gonna next week thing. I wouldn't think.
And I think that's a problem, right? And I think the more time that goes by, the less likely they are to change it. They'll just leave Gasly P3 and we'll move on.
Well, like I said, I think the last one I can remember was 2019 with Alfa Romeo, and it got close, and the court said that their complaint wasn't admissible, so they didn't. They got stuck with the penalty.
Yeah.
So there you go. So all right, let's. Shall we? What are we talking? Let's turn the page. Okay. So segment 2. Look, if he smells blood, he goes after it. Right. This is what Toto Wolff says. He kind of floated some team orders ideas out there this week. Whoop. So what we know, look, Hamilton won his first race with Ferrari, right, last week. That was big in Barcelona, which was great. And that ends Mercedes' perfect run of the season. So that was tough to take. Ferrari looked really quick in the hands of Lewis Hamilton. He's now second in the championship, 41 points behind Kimi, and 10-ish points ahead of George, somewhere in that range. Wolff said plainly that Hamilton is absolutely a title threat. His exact words were he'd rather not fight him for a title because he knows what Hamilton is capable of, and that once Hamilton smells blood, the train starts rolling, and it's very hard to stop with Lewis. So he knows he's a known entity, right?
Right.
Wolff also sort of commented right after the race that Mercedes probably lost 5-6 seconds of race time with Russell and Antonelli fighting each other, and he'd rather than focusing on Lewis, he felt they need to look at that as a team because those are vital seconds they lost in intra-team battle while Lewis was closing in on both. So Wolff said that the team now needs to discuss whether to intervene in future races when a crooked driver's held up, et cetera, hint, hint, nod, nod, wink, wink. Who knows? But the context, I think, is kind of interesting on it. You've got a team principal, Grace, openly admitting that an external threat in Lewis Hamilton may force internal rule changes within the team, and imposing it on the two drivers that so far they've allowed to race. Right? They didn't want to get into that. papaya slop.
I know. I love this so much more. I love that the papaya rules, the silver war is way more interesting to me than papaya rules, right? Like, this is more fun now that it's somebody else's garbage to deal with, right? Like, good luck, Toto Wolff, because you can't have either, right? Like, this is the same problem McLaren had. You either have to say, you're Michael Schumacher, you're Rubens Barrichello, and that's it, or you let them race. This sort of like, we're 1 foot into the like, we have a number one and number two, and half into the like, we're going to let them race. Guess what that leads to? Chaos. You can't have it both ways, especially because we're not even midway through the season yet, right? Like, it's a little early still, as much as Kimi Antonelli has pulled away already. It's still a little early to be like, that's it, you're the number one, you're the number two, right? Unless he's just using this as a way to talk to them about it. But
maybe.
I just think it's a little too early for this discussion. Just let them race. I agree with you.
This is kind of a big strategic shift within a team, or at least to be suggesting that they might be looking at that. This is kind of early for a big strategic shift within a team forced by a resurgent Hamilton and Ferrari.
Especially because...
But he's taking it seriously, obviously.
Of course, but it's also just one race. I mean, Flip and I were just talking about this. Like, what would it take to convince me that Hamilton is the real deal? And I said, not just one race. Right? And that's true with anybody. Like, it's more so true, in my opinion, with Ferrari, but it was one race. As much as I love the idea of, Hamilton getting another championship, I wish it wasn't with Ferrari, but so be it. It happened to Kimi. I would like that for him. I think there's a lot of LHers out there would like that. But hold on, everybody. It's one race. We still got a lot of season left, and it's a new set of rules. So I think that to just be like, that's it. We have to have a 1-2 because Lewis has arrived. It's premature, and he knows that, right? So
yeah, I agree, and I think it's interesting. They kind of built their identity on letting Kimi and George race, and you remember last year, folks. Just go back last year and find Toto's comments about papaya rules and Zach and what's going on. I mean, he wasn't overly harsh about it because Zach is a customer of his, but he kind of approached it as, this sort of Delphic oracle, sage wisdom on, on how to manage this, and papaya rules is a little silly, and I'm paraphrasing, but he was kind of implying that because they learned their lesson back in 2016 with Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Now accelerate, and now you've got an all-on, hammer and tongues war between George and Kimi, and you get one win basically by a resurgent Hamilton and a Ferrari, and I got to be honest, that's kind of admission that the dominant car that Mercedes was is no longer dominant enough to absorb internal point losses, right? And I think that's kind of an interesting situation for Mercedes.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think that they quite know how to handle this. I do love that every 5 minutes they kept mentioning Rosberg and Hamilton, right? Like they've been through this before with Rosberg. I was like, first of all, it was a totally different situation. That would be like saying, we've been through this before. Don't you remember Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo? Well, they built a wall between the garages. It was a very different inter-team battle than most teams go through, right? So I think that helps, but not really. I also want to believe the conspiracy that he just has a bunch of kill switches now, right? Like, oh, we have a problem? Sorry, Kimi, problem solved. Who needs team orders when I can just flip a switch and your engine dies, right? Like, McLaren, you're doing too good. That's it. No more McLaren. Oops. So there's just a kill switch built into all the McLaren.
He's like Dr. Evil up there.
Exactly. He did learn. He did learn from Rosberg and Hamilton, and that is building a kill switch into all the engines.
He's sitting there with Mini-Me.
Lies. Oh, lies!
Yes.
His cat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The cat. So, it's interesting. I think my take on this is that I think deep down, I think Toto respects Lewis a lot and enough to fear him, right?
Sure.
In a resurgent on-song car, if Ferrari's car is on song and has reduced the gap, then Toto very legitimately has a good reason because he knows Lewis. He coached him to 6 titles, and he knows him well enough to fear him as a competitor. So I just think he's probably paying homage in the press to that and kind of talking that they're going to have to be on their A game. You might say, well, team orders are an easy fix once Mercedes decides how to use them, right? I don't know about that. I think you got Kimi, who's building his championship credibility, leading the championship. You got Russell, who spent years waiting on a car good enough to win a championship. Asking either of them to defer, I think, risks the kind of Rosberg, Hamilton sort of resentment to blow up publicly during races and hamper Mercedes' overall title contention. Yeah. So I think they got to be careful there. You'll recall last week I said on the podcast they shouldn't monkey around with it. The bottom line is if Ferrari's on song and we know Lewis can drive, so if the Ferrari's on song and Lewis is a legit contender, you got to unleash Kimi. I'm sorry. Yeah. Kimi is an absolute tiger at this. He attacks every corner. He goes after it. And what better way to hone his racecraft if it's a 19-year-old future champion than going head-to-head with the 7-time champion and let him go after
Absolutely. I mean, I think the thing is that George and Alonso, their friendship just got tighter, right?
Yeah, right. So right, exactly.
Timing, right? And it's super unfortunate in Formula One. I mean, it can happen in any sport, right? It can happen in any of our careers. But Formula One, because there are so few teams, there's just so many few seats. So, I mean, we talk about this all the time when people are like, well, couldn't somebody go to another team? Could they? Where are they going to go? If George is unhappy with Mercedes, where's he going to go? Haas? I mean, there's not even a seat at Haas, right? So I think that's always kind of, you get stuck in these positions and you got to go with what. It's better to be a Mercedes losing to Kimi than winning, I guess, somewhere else or doing well somewhere else.
Right. So, Grace, question for you.
Yeah.
If Mercedes does start managing Russell and Antonelli, who in your mind gets priority?
Kimi Antonelli. As it stands now, Kimi Antonelli.
You'd go with the championship leader, not the much more experienced driver.
Correct. It always has to, because it's always about your points.
Yep.
And it's about your team points. And so you would back Kimi. And I also realized that I like to always call him Kimi Antonelli because inevitably I'm going to call him Kimi Räikkönen. And that's going to continue to be a problem, just like it took me 20 years to not call him McLaren Mercedes. So absolutely, they're going to have to back Kimi Antonelli.
Right. Well, let me ask you about Ferrari. So while Fred Vasseur has sort of, urged the team to stay calm about any title fight or anything.
That's also his job.
Does Hamilton's run change how Ferrari manages Leclerc?
Well, they got to get that. I mean, Leclerc was hot. I feel like in my head now in meetings, when he goes, this, because usually he's like, oh, it was my fault. Leclerc is very differential to like, oh, I'm an idiot, right? I mean, he was just like, I'm not taking the blame for this with some expletives. I'm like, I hear that in my head, right? Like, I'm in a meeting and I'm like, I'm not taking the blame for this one. So Leclerc is hot in a way that we also haven't seen. And that's only going to get worse if Hamilton's pace is real. That is going to be worse for Leclerc. So now you are looking at more of a Rosberg Hamilton situation than you are, Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. But I think that if Lewis somehow is now successful and Leclerc continues to not be successful, that's your problem. I would be very
concerned. That's the key, Grace. I think that's the key. Right now, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't, because Lewis is driving very, very well and very competitive in this chassis and this power unit. And Charles is really struggling, period. Yeah. With brakes, with everything else, right? If Charles was doing as well as and running nose to tail and tail to nose with Lewis, that becomes more difficult. But right now, he is not on that pace that Lewis showed in Barcelona. As you said, it's one race. It's one race. Let's see how
in Spain. Let's
Yeah, this is everybody calm down. It's just we'll see.
I mean,
and to be
I'm not
honest
one
with
to
you,
calm down, but
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Austria is a unique track unto itself, right? That's a unique situation. Which, by the way, Grace, you're going to be joining me for the race review because Paul is going to be at Spa-Francorchamps.
Because if he could get his priorities straight, he'd be here to do the show that he does for Zeros, right?
Just kind of shows you where his loyalties lie.
Jerk. No, it'll be fun. So yeah, just prepare yourself, people. You give me 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, 2 weeks of grace.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, let's move on and turn the page. Segment 3. Well, hey, we kind of think we found out that Verstappen's exit clause is very real, and it was confirmed, or at least in the press. His manager, Raymond Vermeulen, publicly confirmed for the first time that Verstappen's Red Bull contract, which runs, I think, to 2028, does contain an exit clause. And this has been...
I'm sure they all do.
Yeah, I think
I'm sure Ocon's does, right?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them do. And this has been speculated and hinted at for months now. But this is kind of the first time someone within that camp came out and said, yep, there's an exit clause. And the exit clause is tied to the championship position. And there are some reports that suggest, I've read several comments and reports on it, but it suggests that it activates if Verstappen is outside of the top 2 in the standings at the summer break and those kind of things. And those are all the details that typically aren't shared. So what are the triggers for these things, and how narrow or how tight are they? But that was what I had read, and clearly he's setting 6th or 7th in the championship. So Vermeulen said that the Verstappen camp wants a decision made quickly, possibly before the summer break, and that Red Bull leadership met with Verstappen and pushed him to commit, but he left those talks without giving an answer. So the German media now are reporting there's an internal disagreement at Red Bull over whether to proactively buy out the clause to avoid a sudden exit announcement rather than wait and risk losing him on his own terms. Ooh.
Who signed this? When we talked about this a couple weeks ago, who in Red Bull thought outside the top 2?
Yeah.
Who signed this?
I don't know, but that's a really tight window.
Man, that seems...
Especially coming into the season with a brand new power unit that you're unsure of.
Right.
You're confident, you're hopeful, you're excited about your new power unit, but you don't know.
I just don't think anybody would sign... And especially because in Formula One, again, you can bet on yourself and still not do well because it's 80% of the car, right? Like there's just so much that isn't in your control as the driver that I don't know why the team signed it. As a driver, I know I would sign it for sure, but I don't know why the team signed this. This seems like, because again, once you play the well, where else are you going to go? Fine. Don't be at Red Bull. Where is he going to go?
Right.
You have a lot of leverage in this, so I don't know who signed this, but okay.
I doubt it was Helmut Marko.
No, I mean, I
don't know. Although they said that he did some deals, with, I remember during the Horner thing that it kind of leaked out in some press that maybe he had done some agreements or something with the Verstappens that Horner wasn't privy to, and that created some friction, if memory serves correct. But
what kind of team were they running over there? That's great.
Clearly it's a team that restructured. Now they have Laurent Mekies.
That's right. Mekies wouldn't let this happen.
Mekies would never see this. He would not do this.
No. Nor would you let somebody negotiate something that you didn't let your team principal know about. But okay, exactly. It seems like important information for him to be a part of. But okay.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of moved from paddock speculation for several months into what I would say is, his manager kind of choosing to confirm the clause publicly, which in and of itself, Grace, is a negotiating move.
I mean, absolutely, right? Because now you've said, well, here's what it actually says. That secret part, here it is.
Here it is.
I'm saying it out loud.
There is an exit clause. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is this crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So there's that. Where a 4-time champion would go in a driver's market that's tight, I don't know. Mercedes, McLaren, Aston, all of them have hinted they'd be interested in the
Aston Martin.
unique driving stylings of one Max Verstappen. I kind of feel like if he left, would he just go into sports car? I don't know.
I think if he leaves, he's leaving. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think
why would he money, but why would you go and re-up for another 3-year contract or something with Aston or Mercedes or whatever in a series that you genuinely are not happy with right now?
Exactly.
And it's not fulfilling, and you don't like these regulations and the electric and all that stuff. I can see him going out and doing sports cars instead. Yeah,
and yes, we all need money to live, but he doesn't need money to live the same way you and I need money to live. I don't think that's the reason to stay in Formula One. He really is in a position that if he doesn't want to do this anymore, so do it. You can go do something else, right? I don't think that's your concern, sir.
Yeah, I think the idea that Red Bull might buy out its own exit clause is the more interesting story out of this.
And especially because somebody else signed it,
exactly. I mean, they may be trying to control the narrative, and fair enough, and they want to protect the commercial value rather than leaving its biggest asset, for up to future chance. And I get that. But I do think the shakeup over there, the mass exodus over there, even after Horner, and Oliver came in with the Sun, and I do think you ever notice like companies that good example. Let me pick on my team, Ferrari. So you have Luca Di Montezemolo running Ferrari for a long time, and then out of nowhere they hire the young guy, and it comes in and they kick Luca out. There's a big management reshuffle. Look how long that team has struggled ever since those days. And you remember when all the new people came in and started making all those new people mistakes?
Right.
I feel like that's where we are with Red Bull and its leadership right now. I mean, Christian, Helmut, call it what it might. Maybe, they were... maybe they had their own draconian approach to it. Maybe Christian had too much control. I don't know. But I will say that deals like this and losing some of the people and some of the deals that have been done, it makes you wonder, this kind of exposes, to your point, who signed this, right?
I don't know.
And what was going on there,
Either that or I need to hire Raymond Vermeulen.
Me too.
Maybe I need an Angela and a Vermeulen, and then I can handle it all. I can make money and have somebody take care of my life for me.
Yeah. Now, look, on a skeptic check on this, the assumption that Max is obviously gone if Red Bull can't fix the car in time or doesn't buy out the exit clause or whatever. I don't know. He said that Vermeulen, his manager, said that it's their preference that they want to honor the contract, finish his career at Red Bull. And those are normally platitudes and throwaway statements in public, but I have to think some other exit clauses have come and gone over the last 12 or 24 months that Max didn't execute on and could have.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know, but that would be my guess. I don't know that that's necessarily a foregone conclusion. Confirming a clause exists isn't the same as confirming Max's intent to use the clause. Yeah. It's just, I think there's certain elements about that program that Max is comfortable with. Yeah. He likes, he feels comfortable there and those kind of things. And that carries a lot. You look at Lewis's struggles last year. You look at, when Alonso went to McLaren. You look at, the struggles Pierre's has at Alpine, George is having at Mercedes.
Or Carlos at the 12 different teams he's been at, right?
Right. Look at the struggles that Charles having, those kind of things. And Max wouldn't consider him, of course, Max wouldn't consider himself an equal or on par with any of those drivers. He would consider himself a far better driver. But I do wonder if he would execute that clause over the summer. I don't know.
No.
Hard to know. If he does, he very well. I think the struggle that Aston Martin's going through is massive.
Yes.
But I could possibly see him upping at Mercedes with Kimi Antonelli.
I've done it to you.
Yeah,
that's right.
Got me with Kimi Antonelli. That would be brutal. Talk about managing driver friction. Woo!
Why would I mean that would I mean for us that would be great to watch. For the team, I would not want that.
I wouldn't want that either. But who knows?
But yeah, I think
and I don't know if Toto would want to pay that kind of money. He didn't with Lewis.
No,
and he may not want to pay that because he's got Kimi.
Yeah, right. He has a future.
He may not want to. So, sometimes you think about that. I mean, Ferrari, they could see what they could do this year with Lewis. And, I don't know. I can't remember when his contract's up. I think it could be. Is it the end of this year or next? Anyway, I don't know that there's a lot of great places other than Aston and Lawrence's money, but we'll get into that in a minute. All right.
I think that would be. I think this is all just the usual politicking, right? Like, I don't think there's legs to it in anything. I don't think Verstappen's going anywhere.
Yeah,
I think this is just.
Do you think Red Bull for the so section? Do you think Red Bull will spend the money and buy out the clubs, or do you think they'll just bet on the Austrian upgrades to convince him to stay? What do you think?
I think they're going to wait. I don't even know how. Yeah, because it's not like it's going to be here's $2 and we buy out your exit clause. Like
no, it's expensive.
Sure, so you're going to drag that out as long as you can before you do that. So I think, especially if you really think Austria, if you're bringing upgrades and it's Austria, it's your race. You don't the PR from doing it there would be terrible. Just wait, you know. So I don't think it's, but I don't think it's. I don't think they will buy him out, and I think he'll stay.
Do you? So if the summer break deadline passes and there's no decision, you think neither of them will blink first?
No, because I think the other side. I don't. Okay, so I was just speaking to how I can't believe somebody at Red Bull signed this. Verstappen also has to know this is nuts that they signed this.
Yeah.
And again, not on the betting on yourself. Of course, you think you're great. You wouldn't have made it here if you weren't great and you didn't believe in yourself like that.
Yep.
But there's so many other factors that lead you to be great in Formula One. There are plenty of drivers that are great and never get World Drivers' Championships. Like being a Dan Marino in Formula One is very common, right?
Yeah.
It isn't the only thing that gets you somewhere in this sport. So I just think you would also be foolish to say, you didn't meet that, so I'm leaving.
Yeah, do you really think that Max genuinely wants to win somewhere else?
No, I don't. Because I just think how hard inertia is hard for all of us, right? Many of us stay in jobs because it's hard, right? And you don't want to go somewhere else, and somewhere else may be terrible, and then you have to look for jobs. It's like you already know this is the only team you've raced for. It would have to be. It would have to be either like a Ricciardo situation where the ethos of the team wasn't working out for you, so you went to Renault. It was a better ethos for you. Or you were Lewis Hamilton and you need to get another championship because you're old. You're not even almost old. You are old and you don't have time to wait for Toto Wolff to get his act together. Right. Those are the only two reasons why you would leave Red Bull, in my opinion. I don't think there's any reason why he would leave to go to another team. Now, leave to go to another sport, that's a very different thing. But I think just leaving to go race at Alpine or Haas, or why would you do that? You're already in one of the best teams. Why would you go to another team where you'd have to relearn everything, and which will have a learning curve? Even if you all are great and you all gel together, there's still a learning curve, right? Yeah. It's
no, I agree with
being a co-driver, right? Like it takes a while for you to get okay, the driver wants the directions here, and this is, okay, and it just takes a bit to build that rapport on a team. Yeah. Why would you go through that again? You have.
Yeah, I don't know. With GP leaving and all that stuff, I don't know. But I could see. I'm kind of your thinking though. If he does leave, I don't know that. I don't know that I'm 100% convinced it'd be to another team like McLaren or Mercedes or whatever. Versus another sport. I could almost see him going to another sport. But
I agree. I think he would be great in a sports car. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think he would be great. And it would be fun, and he'd have fun, and we get to see that side of him that is actually fun, right? He's a pretty fun guy. And so, and then the schedule wouldn't be as tough. He could spend time with his family,
Yeah, right.
It would be much more manageable life.
There you go. All right. Well, let's turn the page on that one. Go to the next segment. So, Honda admits it in public, Grace. Aston Martin has failed expectations, and the maybe the budget cap bill is coming due. I don't know, but what we do know is that this is an interesting story. So Honda issued a statement this week through its channels and press or whatever, saying that the results of Aston Martin have not matched their ambition this season. And that HRC president was personally visited the UK trackside operation to deliver that sort of message, right? I'm paraphrasing that. They've scored a single point this year, right? Yeah. And, they were really having, genuine championship ambitions built around Adrian Newey's new car. Right?
Yeah.
And they spent a fortune on that and the factory, and
all of
Lawrence built the best of the best and hired the best of the best designer and poached people, and they had it all set up, and money's going to buy a title. It's like the Detroit Red Wings back in the day. So this is what they were going to do. Right. Well, in Barcelona, both cars qualified 21st, 22nd, and both retired. Honda has also been given, and then Honda also had that whole vibration crisis early in the year. Yes, right. Where
Alonso's hands were busted up, right? I can't, I can't do this. You're killing me,
Right. Yeah. So, and they've been given extra homologation opportunities with the ADUO, sorry.
I know.
Just for those of you playing at home, that's the Additional Development and Upgrade Opportunities program.
Who came up with these acronyms? Who you do?
Probably Eddie everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Which is designed to help underperforming power units catch up faster than the standard development freeze would normally allow. That's what the ADUO. Yeah, the ADUO. So some context on this. So a power unit manufacturing publicly admitting failure mid-season. It's not common, folks.
No,
that's not common.
This is a disaster. Watanabe, this is Watanabe. This is why you're paid the big bucks, because you're getting on that plane and you're going to go tell all those people to their faces that we built you a crappy engine, right? This is not normal, right?
But this is why I find this interesting. So for Honda to choose to do this on its own social channels with its president flying in, a controlled message aimed at sort of reassuring all the stakeholders, as much as Aston Martin's, it's interesting, and I'll tell you why. Juxtapose this with what they did and said back when they were at McLaren. Remember GP2 engine?
That was McLaren's fault.
Remember? Yes.
Not us.
The two scenarios are incredibly similar with markedly different results, folks. This is what I think is interesting. So back then, McLaren, everybody was excited. Ron.
Nice, Ron.
Ron got Honda signed up, and I had my concerns. I even said back then that Honda should leave and go to Red Bull because they would thrive under Red Bull's culture, and they did. They didn't thrive under Ron's culture. And so they were over there, and this led to a lot of frustration, and Fernando Alonso famously on the radio said it's a GP2 engine, and Honda was mad. And so they didn't have this, we'll fly in and tell everyone at McLaren and all the stakeholders that it's our fault, we're sorry, the engine doesn't meet expectations. That none of that was said or done by Honda.
Right.
I find it really interesting this time, and you have to know that Lawrence is probably on the phone screaming at him that they need to come over and explain that it's their damned engine and not his brand new factory and Adrian Newey that's cocked it up. Right?
Correct. That's right.
And I think that's exactly. I could be 100% wrong, but I think that's predominantly.
I think you're 100% right. I think this is Honda's taking the blame for this one.
Yes, not Lawrence.
No way.
And there's a budget cap to mention. Is this a pure engine story or a harsh reality about where Lawrence Stroll's investment has actually gone? Right. Whether chasing that vibration fix so early on in the season that eat through their budget, that should have gone to aerodynamics. I don't know. Or was there enough of a budget left that we could just out of nowhere after summer break, ta-da, B-spec car. Whoa, where did that come from?
Well, that would be amazing.
Right? It'd be amazing, and I think it'd be difficult to do with the budget cap. Right.
I don't think this is not the season. This is not how Larry saw this going.
Nope.
It is not going to be his fault.
No.
And yes, it would be nice.
The heads will probably roll.
Yeah.
And not his son.
No, never. It'll never be Lance. And
yeah, he's in a different category.
But even Alonso, even though he's also playing it very differently, right? Like, hi, I'm Fernando Alonso. Remember me? We've been in this situation before, but he's not saying the same sort of. He's still sarcastic. That's why we love him on the radio, but not in the same way towards Honda that he was when he was in McLaren.
No.
No more radio. The rest of the race.
That's right.
Yeah, I think Fernando's had enough. Hence the Alonso to Alpine back with his manager Flavio stories that are floating out there.
That would be so great.
It would be great.
I love it.
Get the team back together. They won titles under the Renault banner.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, the ADO program exists basically, for moments like this with Honda.
Right.
But it does kind of raise a fairness questions. I mean, the teams that struggle get extra development room. That's great, but it's good for the competition of the sport. But it also means that the standard cost cap discipline bends for whoever falls furthest behind.
Yes, right. But I mean, I guess you kind of. I think it's hard because it's Formula One, and Formula One, we think of it as this is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsports, right? Now, has it been the pinnacle in that sense? Not for a while, but I think so. It's kind of hard to swallow in a sport that says, "But we're the pinnacle." But yeah, we're also going to give concessions to people, right?
Yeah.
So I think you can't kind of have it both ways, and of course they're going to try to have it both ways. But I think it feels hard for you to say we're the best, and if you're sucking, we're going to give you some help so that you can catch up to everybody else.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I think that this is something Formula One is similar. I was talking about Toto having one foot in one camp and one foot in the other camp, and that doesn't work. And I think Formula One's kind of struggling with that too, right? As opposed to like MotoGP that really was just like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. If you suck, we're going to give you some stuff so you stop sucking so much. And if you get too good, then we're going to drop. You know what I mean? Like they really kind of worked out kind of a relegation system in a way that Formula One is kind of like toying with, but doesn't really want to do, but also nobody's going to agree to. So you get stuck in this kind of weird space.
I also kind of think like if you and I owned a team that made engines, and they were going to continue with the ADUO program, you and I'd probably sit down and say, okay, look, for the next year's iteration, we just need to be thereabouts.
Good enough. Yeah.
80%.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Save some budget money, get it on track, and see how well Toto's engine does.
Right.
And harvest some data for the first half dozen races on the Mercedes. And then we'll go back and apply the remaining ADUO budgets to develop the engine exactly where we think we need it to do based on the research that we do on Toto's Mercedes. Right? Why go all in? Why not get thereabouts, get on track, assess your competition and where you think they're strong, and then focus that development where, you may even find some trick stuff that's going on, like the whole expanding, cylinder heads and compression and all those sort of rumors. Those were all kind of, ferreted out the first few races of the season. And maybe that's where you spend some of your ADO in some of that trick tech in what you do. So, yeah, I don't know.
I think that's a very risky strategy.
It would be. Yeah.
You could do that. I don't know that I don't have the guts for that, but you could do that. But yeah, that seems risky.
Yeah, I just think it's weird, Honda, having a public accountability moment. That's a little strange.
They have to. Do they want Larry to have it? They do not.
Yeah, no. Nobody wants
those
Larry
are your choices. Either,
Yeah.
Watanabe gets on a plane and apologizes, or Larry's going to apologize. Right. You pick which one you want, Honda.
Yeah. It's not going to be Larry.
My plane leaves in 2 hours.
I know. Interesting. All right. Well, that's our news. Let's shall we crack in to a little? We'll do it live. A little Alvin's Cats. Why not? Seems like what we do.
It's a shit box.
All right. What do you got?
So first, I have a little recap from Monaco. I'd like to say a little shout out to whoever did the drone shot for Monaco. That was great. I'm all in on that, and especially because it's such a compact track, right? So you could really do that. Like not every track, like Aston, you really couldn't do that. It would be nuts. But a track like that, you can. But it was like real life. I love watching the dots. It's great, and it's like real life watching the dots, right? So I was like, this is great. I was so excited for that. They need to do that more often. Good. Or just show that, like that I could just have that instead of the dots. I could have that just shot continually of the drones and have real life dots. I also love that at Monaco, you also have just regular cars just driving wherever they're going today, Sunday grocery shopping while the race is happening. That I also love that juxtaposition that you don't get at other tracks because, of course, they're not in, center of the city, right? But in Monaco, people are just like going about their day and right there's the race. It's fine.
I'll be back, honey. I can get some shallots. I'll be back. Yeah. Oh,
I get some capers.
There goes Lewis. Yeah.
Imagine that, right? So I love the dots, but I also did love that it just picks up regular traffic, and it's great. Like don't get on the 405 today, honey. It's gonna be backed up. Why? There's a race.
There's a race. Damn it.
So it was great. So whoever's idea this was, this should always happen. And if it's a compact enough track, we should do this all the time. I loved it. It was great.
It is great.
I did like, so there's always been this consternation about how the drivers snitch on each other, right? Like, I just watched him go off the track 5 times. Didn't you just see him? Right? Like that happens all the time. I like to tell people it's not, in Formula One, it's not snitches get stitches. It's snitches get riches. This is the way it works, people. That is your job. You are the eyes on the track. Right. You're, of course, going to say, didn't you see that guy do that? This happens in other sports. It's just that they can talk to the referee, right? Like if it happens in basketball, you point at the guy and you point at the ref and you're like, didn't you see that? Well, they can't do that in Formula One. So the drivers are always like, I just saw George go off the track. There he goes again. There he goes again.
Right.
So enough. Snitches get riches in Formula One, and this is how it goes. And we can stop talking about that now that they're just always ratting each other out. That's how it works in racing.
It is. It's great.
I also, we touched a little bit, I think we were all, very excited for LH. I think that, I don't know how you couldn't be emotionally moved by him winning and how joyous he was. And I also would like to thank that his new race engineer gave yet another great, thing that I can now yell randomly at Flip. Thankfully, this is why, I feel that when I got married, what I didn't know was that you now always have somebody with you when you see things, so that you could be like, oh my God, did you see that giraffe? When you're single, you often see the giraffe and there's nobody else with you. And you're like, crap, I didn't get a picture. Nobody's going to believe me. But now you probably have somebody with you who's like, holy cow, I also saw that giraffe walking down the 405, right? So that's a great benefit. But also all the inside jokes. So now both of us all the time, we just go, you are in the front anytime something good happens.
You're in the front.
You're in the front.
It's great.
So I'd like to thank Ferrari for giving us yet another inside joke that we can just randomly in public where nobody else knows what we're talking about. Although maybe they would, that would be funny too. But just to be like, oh, good job, you were in the front.
They have some great ones. They really do.
You know, it was some great joy. I loved that moment. Like, you know, and it was very, very even kill and yet a lot of joy.
Yeah.
And then finally, as you mentioned at the top of the show, we did have a MotoGP race today. And wow, not the most, exciting of races perhaps. But I hope you have your Nick Harris ready because your boy Marc Marquez is back.
Oh, yeah. Does anybody have anything about Marquez? No.
Yeah, so he's just going to win. I don't know. I love that they're making a story out of this. Like, do you think? Yeah, we really all thought, like, the man's got, like, an arm and a quarter. And at the end of you can see him, like, holding his arm. He's clearly in pain. He's still wiping us all up. Whatever,
I know. He's a machine, my boy Mark.
Yeah, although I did see that when he was at Spain, Marc Marquez was, and they said he was a retired MotoGP retired MotoGP rider. And I was like, did I miss something? I really believe Formula One, not that they had made a mistake about what his title should be, but that like, Mark, maybe he did retire and I just missed
the news. Yeah.
I missed it. But did that happen? Right. No, they made a mistake. He is still racing. Maybe people wish he was retired, but
maybe
he is not. And it was great.
Great.
I did also like that I don't know why MotoGP does this, but they do the sprint podium like out where the people are as opposed to like in the podium above pit lane, right? Yeah. And so they always have to drive the drivers out wherever the far reaches of the track is. And then this time they put the team, so it was the Ducati and Trackhouse, on like the things that they use to do the drivers' parades, like those big flatbeds. So it was just great that they're just driving around, there's, everybody like, but the team, right, as opposed to just the drivers. And they're just like jumping and waving and people just like, very excited. I was like, this was kind of fun too, to kind of like drive the teams around as well instead of just the drivers. Yeah. To get them out into the far reaches of wherever they had that podium. Yeah. It was pretty fun. There's Gigi at the front just waving at everybody. It was a good time.
That is funny.
So I like that. And we have Aston next week too. That'll be a good race before we get into their summer break as well. So
there you go.
Start watching.
Good. Alvin's Cats. All right. Well, that does it for this podcast. That's what we think. Let us know what you think about these topics. I found them all interesting. I hope you do as well. You can share your opinion. Just go to theparkforme.com.
We only report
it's on the side behind me.
We only report the uninteresting stories. Of course, we agreed to these. These are the interesting stories.
Yeah, of course, we all agree. So, you can do that. Share your opinion there. Also, a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters because we would not do this podcast if it wasn't for you.
Yes.
Seriously. Yes, seriously.
Thank you.
Seriously, Todd?
Yes, seriously. We wouldn't. So thank you. And if you like the podcast and you would like to support us, you can do that by going to the website on the right-hand side, and right at the bottom it says support us, and you click on that. You can support us in multiple different ways. And if you're a Patreon supporter, you get this podcast and the video version of it with no ads in it. And so, that's worth it. So that's good. And then we'll be back next week to do it all over again. We're going to talk about the Austrian Grand Prix. I'll have Grace in tow, and we'll have fun breaking down the Austrian Grand Prix for you. Yeah. So until next week when we come back to do it all over again, this is Todd, a.k.a. Negative Camber, saying so long, Grace.
See you next week.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. It's not what I feel I've got to prove at all. I don't really want to prove anything. I started as an amateur with no idea or no intention of becoming world champion. I was curious to find out what it was like to drive a car fast, to drive on a certain circuit, to drive a certain type of car.